some news stories that were interesting. This one's getting an awful, oh, not this one. This one's getting lots of buzz. A reporter found some website on a state website, I think in Montana. MO is Montana, I think, or is it MT? Maybe it's Missouri. Anyway, wherever it is, some American state, there was a bug on a website that revealed social security numbers of teachers. And they've been a little confusing about the specifics, but apparently all you had to do was view the source code of the website, and then the data was there in some kind of encoded form that you could reverse. Like, it sounds sort of like maybe it was base 64 or something. It was something which was pretty easy to reverse, and so a reporter found it and reported it so they could fix it, and now the governor is determined to prosecute that reporter for hacking. And a whole bunch of security people are jumping up and saying that's not really hacking. And I must say, I used to do this kind of thing. I used to make the same argument, and my lawyer told me I was wrong. You are hacking. And that's, of course, what the governor says. The letter of the law says if you go to a website and you get information from that website that you are not authorized to have, you have committed the crime of hacking. It does not say you have to pass through a password barrier or decode something with strong encryption or anything. It's entirely possible that right-clicking and viewing source code could cause you to see something that they did not intend for you to see, like this, and then you would appear to be breaking the letter of the law of the Computer Fraud and Abuse Act, and this is why a lot of people say that act is not written very well, and it really needs to go to court. And of course, this is and this is where I began to learn how this works. I used to think I was completely clean. The thing is, when you do anything, there is some legal risk. And then you have to go to court and defend yourself. You have to get a lawyer. You have to cooperate with your lawyer. And then you'll probably be okay. And I would think that this reporter can probably defend his actions in court, or her actions, and not be punished. But it's not 100% true that this reporter did not break the law. This reporter did something which could reasonably be interpreted as breaking the law. And the governor could go to court and fight it and might possibly win. So, it's not, the security community is saying what I would have said maybe 10 years ago. Obviously, that doesn't count as hacking. That's ridiculous. But the law doesn't say anything about the technical details. The law just says you went to the website and you found something there that you were not supposed to find. And it wasn't an accident. You looked for something and found something that you knew you were not authorized to have. And that's certainly the case here. Anyway, kind of like your own personal. Yes, right, exactly, sure. And I used to do this, and I had to go to my lawyer and stuff. It's the law is not so simple for anybody. The point is, there's some things that are clearly breaking the law, and some things that are clearly not breaking the law, and then there's a large gray zone where there is some legal risk, and you have to defend your actions in court and things like that. So. This is a federal law, the Computer Fraud and Abuse Act, the primary one that punishes hackers. Well, yes, the owners could try suing them of leaked info. That'd be another issue, yes. I haven't heard of any successful lawsuits of people claiming that leaking their information hurt them. This is a lot like pollution. If you pollute water and then somebody gets cancer, you can't sue for that because you cannot prove that pollution caused this cancer. It's random. And you can't prove that the fact that this site leaked your social security number meant you would get a false credit card number a year later. There's no cause and effect there. That's why the laws that work there are regulatory laws, where they say you must satisfy like GDPR or the California privacy regulation, and then you didn't obey the regulation. That you can do. But anyway, these are my understandings of the law. Of course, I'm not a lawyer. But I've had a bit to do with this hacking law from the viewpoint of the hacker. So here's a free security course from a famous guy named Professor Messer that's free right now. So if you want to get a Security Plus certification, you might want to sign up for that. He's a very famous guy. This one's pretty interesting. I know there are voice altering systems. You can make your voice sound high or low or give it an accent artificially, but I didn't know you could clone a voice. But apparently with modern AI software, you can listen to someone's recorded voice and clone it so that you can make speech sound just like that person. And they used it to get $35 million. They called a company and they made themselves sound like somebody they knew that said, send the money here, and they did it. So that's pretty impressive. I've been hearing for like the last 5 years that deep fakes are going to change the world, and this is the first example I've seen of it actually being used. So this I thought was very cute. So this guy went to a website, and it had a mobile number for two-factor authentication. But what he found was it did not connect the second factor with the first factor. So he was able to capture a request from another request and use it as the second factor on the first one. And so that means, I think you can call this a race condition. So you try to log in, it sends you a PIN, you apply with the PIN, and I could get in there quickly and reply with a different PIN and it would take it. So it's a cute little flaw. Anyway, because the thing that verified the PIN sent to your phone did not also at the same time verify your original phone number. It didn't notice if you're sending in a PIN from a different phone number. This is a very common problem where you make something that will work fine with a low volume of traffic, like one person logging in at a time. But when thousands of people are logging in at a time, then there's a flaw. So you wouldn't notice it in simple tests. And here's one, a lot like that person that hacked revealing the Social Security numbers. So there was a dump of a bunch of people that owned guns in the UK, or some company called Gun Trader. And somebody took the dump data, which was stolen or leaked or something, and then he put it in a Google Earth map so you can quickly find the house of people that have a gun in the UK. And they're trying to argue, is that a crime? What is that? I mean, he didn't steal the data. He just reformatted the data to make it easier for people to use, but it was stolen data, and now it's easier for people. Apparently, this is a big deal. I think the point is, in the UK, it's hard to get a gun. So you really want to find a house of somebody with a gun and break in and steal the gun. This is kind of alien in America, where we have something like 3 guns per person, and, you know, it's not generally a problem for anybody to get a gun over here, sort of the opposite. But anyway, now they're trying to decide what to do with this, and they've decided not to treat it as terrorism. They're trying to decide, did this guy break a law? If so, what law? If so, what is the punishment? There's another one of those edge cases where you've done something that seems kind of wrong, but is it exactly a crime? And this guy was born with one arm missing or somehow not very good, and he made prosthesis out of Lego, and now he's making it for this baby. He's designing Lego-based prostheses for people. So, sounds like fun. And, you know, there's a school that uses electric shock to stop people who have compulsive behavior. This is there's quite a lot of discussion of this. There are people who compulsively ram their head against the wall. There's one case they gave here. I know also people who are autistic. Some of them have these fits where they throw around, and they found that just putting them like a heavy blanket or holding them tightly calms them down. So activities that some people think are like physical abuse are sometimes helpful to these people. So in this case, they give them electric shocks or ankle monitors to correct behavior, and they're arguing about that. So whether that's like torture or wrong, or if it's just legitimate therapy. All sort of legal edge cases today. So apparently China, their solar power has now reached the same price as coal, which is good. Considering we need to stop burning fossil fuels to avoid warming up the planet, it's a very good thing that the renewable energy is becoming cheaper than the fossil fuels anyway, because I think that will really motivate people to switch to it even more than the principle of saving the planet. And this one's very interesting. This guy's a hacker, and the kind of hacker that speaks at DEF CON and everything else, and he needed a job, and he said he came from a rural state in America where he said the Democrats destroyed the state, so he hated Democrats anyway. So when they told him, you're going to help promote the Trump campaign in 2016, he did it, and he explains what he did. And he says it wasn't the Russians, it was us in America making all the fake news. And he explains how they made hundreds of fake Facebook pages, and they carefully planned search engine optimization to bring title stories to the top, and they carefully made fake stories about Hillary Clinton and stuff, and promoted them greatly and efficiently for years, and created huge buzzes and Facebook groups and huge angry things are the sort of thing that we're now reaping now, where you have, you know, something like 80% of Republicans believe that the election was rigged, and a huge number of them believe the vaccine is poison, and all sorts of stupid things, because this disinformation machine that pumps out this poisonous fake news has become very effective. And anyway, this guy actually came out and mentioned it's his real name and everything. He explains what he did and what he did for years, how it all worked. So it's a pretty interesting revelation. There was a book from a Canadian about this too, explaining how they did it with a database company. But anyway, there was this fake news thing that has really spun up was in some ways a technical accomplishment. And anyway, people are beginning to speak up about how it happened. All right, so let me stop this one.